welcome back. After the new government took charge, there has been a feeling of anticipation in the country, particularly as Prime Minister Narendra Modi made it very clear that this will be a government of strong decisions, far-reaching decisions. But the joy was somewhat peppered as we saw gruesome attack on innocent pilgrims in Jammu, in the Riyasi area of Jammu division, followed by back-to-back attacks in two other places also falling within the Jammu division. Two terrorists were neutralized, and there are enough indications and evidences to show that they were foreign terrorists. Just weeks after Kashmir came out in the highest numbers ever to cast its vote, and Kashmiris made the power of the ballot felt to the whole world, these back-to-back attacks have raised some very sinister questions. We'll go down these questions one by one, and what lies ahead in terms of peace for the people of Jammu and Kashmir. And to take us down this whole topic and understand the complexities of the situation, I have here with me two war veterans who have both served extensively in that area and know all the nitty-gritties of the situation. So quickly, I would like to introduce Lieutenant General Kulkarni. You know him as the hero of Siachen, and you have been hearing his thoughts, his perspective on media scan on several occasions. Jai Hind, General Kulkarni, welcome sir.
Jai Hind, ma'am, Jai Hind.
Also with us, Colonel Danveer Singh, another veteran, also a security affairs analyst. He has also served in Jammu Kashmir and neutralized many militants. I cannot count how many. So both of us will help us understand what is happening today in Jammu and Kashmir areas and why. I would like to come to General Kulkarni here first. Sir, we have all seen that Kashmiris broke all record when they came out to exercise their franchise. But just a few weeks later, these back-to-back attacks have raised the question as to is there something wrong in the security scenario, or is our Western neighbor really disturbed by the kind of strength of democracy that was witnessed in the Kashmir Valley recently? How do you look at the causes of these recent attacks, sir?
Smita ji, thank you very much indeed for inviting me over your show. Well, at the very outset, there are a lot of issues involved in it. There is no denying the fact that the elections being so successful and such huge turnout, almost 50+% of turnout, which is almost a unique thing in Kashmir. So that is one indication. The second, after the abrogation of Article 370, the kind of tourist influx, which crossed over 2 crores to the valley, over 1 crore of them, out of them visiting Vaishno Mata. So that is one thing which gave a sense of normalcy. Third, I would say that even in POK, the kind of voices that got raised, that there is so much of development in India, and that the people in India are so much happy, and that the Pakistani administration is exploiting the people of Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, and much that they would rather join India and would want better administration because they were fed up with the Pak administration. And I would even put across yet another point is with China also, and the kind of, I would say, Pakistan virtually behaving on behest of the Chinese. At a time when it would have been more appropriate as good neighbors, both China and Pakistan, had they at least sent congratulatory messages coming from the president or from the Prime Minister of Pakistan. Neither of them. So in fact, the President Xi Jinping hasn't as yet. And whereas the Prime Minister has sent, from Pakistan, sent the congratulatory terse message after the incident in Riyasi. And just when the swearing-in ceremony was to take place in India, almost simultaneously we found that the Pakistani delegation headed by the Prime Minister with their Chief of the Army Staff, General Munir, a part of it, and where the issue of Kashmir also came up. It gives an indication that the Chinese are instigating the Pakistanis, and the Pakistanis virtually because of the economic distress that they are in, political distress that they are in, that the Chinese seem to be telling them that should you want any help from us in terms of economic, which they're almost in occupation of the Pak-occupied Kashmir, constructing bunkers for them, giving all kinds of help to them. The dam that is under construction, the 650 megawatt, the electricity going for the Xinjiang province from there. So, and the kind of facilities and the roads, the infrastructure, all of it, billions of dollars being invested by China in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. Pakistan not being supported adequately for the funds the world over. Pakistan being seen as the hub of terrorism, Pakistan using terrorism as an instrument of state policy, and they found this region south of Pir Panjal a soft target.
Because I'll come to why, yes sir, General Kulkarni, I'll come back to you to understand why the Pir Panjal tracks are becoming so hot suddenly. But before that, I want to bring in Colonel Danveer Singh here. Colonel Singh, terror has been a state policy for Pakistan for decades now. But General Kulkarni is saying that, it is his argument that China's push is, sort of motivating Pakistan to go ahead on this. And at the same time, the trouble that is looming in POK, and now the world media is taking note of it. But isn't it also a fact that Article 370, which was once considered an untouchable, piece of legislation, was abrogated by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and the fact that this government has come back to power for a third time, and the entire political game plan of Pakistan seems to be now almost over in Kashmir, may have triggered this particular attack on innocent pilgrims, particularly on a day when the government was scheduled to take oath here?
I think very firstly, these attacks that we have seen during this very recent period, especially on the day of swearing in of the new government, that is Modi 3.0, it reflects, in fact, it underscores the fact that Pakistan is absolutely worried. It wants to give a political statement that their policy of terror has not weaned away, it has not died. Bearing the fact that everybody understands that in Kashmir, as you mentioned, after 370, things have changed. It has come a full circle. If you remember the famous Abdullah Rajiv Gandhi rigging of Kashmir elections in the late 80s, and thereafter the complete valley spiraling into a insurgency actively supported by Pakistan, has come to a full circle, as I just said.
And the JKLF saying Jonah Mila,
yes, or the previous Muslim United Front leaders, then subsequently Hurriyat, they have shunned away the policy of Pakistan openly. Jamaat al-Islami Kashmir had openly said that people should go out and vote and participate in elections. Separatist leaders like Sajjad Lone, Shabir Shah, his daughter, and Engineer Rashid, and likewise many others, they have participated in these elections. This is the full circle. These are the people who boycotted all the elections, and now they have come back into the folds after 40 years. So when I say this, it is very significant and it is very well understood by Pakistanis. And what I say is that the Pakistani invasion for past 30-40 years that has been relentlessly continuing in our part of the territory has failed. So basically, these attacks signify the failure of Pakistani invasion that has lasted so many years. Now, these are small incidents that I would like to say. They do not have any strategic bearing, but of course, they do have some sub-tactical bearing. And I think these kind of attacks we can never rule out. But the larger fact of the matter is that the Pakistani invasion, I again underscore that it has failed. Pakistan has failed once again.
Yes, in the larger perspective, it does seem that Pakistan has totally failed in its game plan on Kashmir, because none of us have forgotten the fact that for the first time in these Lok Sabha elections, gentlemen, there was no call for boycott of the polling, not even for the sake of it. And people came out to vote is something we have been repeating here. And there was no call for boycott. There was no fear of the gun in the minds of the people, that if they go to cast their ballot, they will have to face some violence. But there's another finer point in these spate of attacks, gentlemen, which we need to understand more. While Kashmiris have voted overwhelmingly and they have broken all records, similar pattern has been visible in Jammu. But isn't it a fact that at least these 3 attacks, that the most recent that we are talking about, have all occurred in the Jammu division, even though there were terrorists who infiltrated from across the LOC? General Kulkarni, how would you look at this? Do you think there is a reason behind this, or is it just random?
Sense that Rajouri, Punch, we've been seeing for the last 2-3 years, there have been a lot of infiltration taking place. The porous borders over there, the thick forested regions, the highs, the riverine terrain, the roads are not far too many. The hamlets, the villages are all spread all over. The density of populations, rather sparse population spread all over, a mix of population. Unlike the valley, where you can safely say that about over 97% people belong to one. There are Muslims in the valley. Unlike the Jammu division, where the population, like Riyasi, is 50-50%. At the Doda, it could be 55-45%. Again, Kathua, Hiranagar, and Samba region, they'll be Hindu-dominated regions.
In fact,
Jammu,
sir,
again,
since Doda is a bigger, much larger area, there are areas where it is 50-50, then there are those where it is 60-40, It is something in Kishtwar, something else in Bhadarwa.
Absolutely.
It's totally mixed.
Absolutely, Smitaji. Totally. In fact, it's a mix, a total mix of population. And having commanded my battalion over there in Kishtwar and Thatri, so I can tell you that there is communal harmony. And there have been nice, I would rather say from 96 onwards until subsequently till what has now happened very recently, things were peaceful. And things had gone back to normalcy. For the last about 30 years, people have been seeing normalcy. But the realization probably in Pakistan was that how can we put the whole area into chaos? How can we put pressure on India? How can we make the Indian claim that the terrorism and militancy has gone down by over 66%. Tourism has taken place, development has taken place, abrogation, as we all have seen with our own eyes, how people have overwhelmingly come out and voted, the kind of colleges that are coming up, the kind of employment opportunities that have been seen by the people, the amount of the rejuvenated society that we find in Jammu and Kashmir, all of it is not being digested well by the Pakistanis. And they seem to feel...
Please allow me to come to Colonel Singh here on the same point. Let us also have his view. Danveer Singh, for the first time, we are seeing across Jammu Kashmir, a revival of economic activity. People who had shut their trades and their factories and their workshops are coming back. There is a rush to buy land in order to, start some of the other venture. And all sorts of plans are being made. We are seeing massive infrastructure development. Do you think this is sheer desperation, an ultimate level of desperation of Pakistan to now trigger a kind of, communal tension or communal reaction in the people? Because we know that, a very sort of cursory look at the data shows that infiltration is down massively. Attacks on security forces have gone down by 90% according to the latest data. And we are only seeing some, random lone wolf attacks here and there, not the kind of structured attacks on security forces anymore. Do you think this is the last option left with Pakistan, to target innocent pilgrims or innocent villagers in order to trigger some reaction?
See, when we talk of any insurgency or things like that, we should never forget that it is all about winning the hearts and minds. Ultimately, if you look at the broader canvas, what you just mentioned, these are the manifestations of winning of hearts and minds. It has taken a lot of time. People are convinced in the valley, people are convinced that their economic activity, their religious freedom, their political sanity lies with being part of India. And simultaneously with the internet age, they have been able to peep into what is happening on the other side of Pakistan occupied Kashmir. So there is a big hypocrisy on what Pakistan preaches and what it practices. So this has also come and hit them. So propaganda has fallen flat. That is why you don't see any of those kinds of attack, and you won't see ever. And whatever you are seeing, it is because of the geographical reasons. No matter how whatever we may raise on the borders, we can never hermetically seal that border. There will be infiltration from here and there because of topography, and probably this and other cases also in this complete axis of Poonch, Rajouri, Akhnur, and Jammu. These things have been happening because of this reason. Local support may be very, very less, and that also under duress. That may not be for any other reason. That is what my understanding is of this region. When the insurgency was at peak in Kashmir, that time also this region never showed those kind of signs and leaning.
Yes, and let us be
so
fair.
that is what
I mean,
the whole,
common villagers.
thing is, and
yes, common villagers, you cannot expect them to fight back, when the other person has a gun and is forcing you to give him shelter or food or whatever. But on POK, General Kulkarni, since both of you have, have very clearly mentioned the situation, the goings on in Pak-occupied Kashmir, what do you think should be our policy hereafter on POK, considering the people are so agitated and now they have started speaking on record that it would be best to merge with India, since they are not even getting their basic necessities. And I want to very quickly mention one particular local resident of POK here who was very candid to say that we were provoked and we were pushed by people to drive away our Hindu and Sikh neighbors, so that if only one community remains in the area, we will have the best use of the resources and we will be rich. The contrary seems to have happened. The Hindus and Sikhs who left everything to move towards this side of the LOC have done sheer with their hard work. They are now prospering, whereas people in POK are crying for basic necessities. What do you think should be India's position on our POK, who are our brothers and sisters?
Smita ji, you heard Colonel Danveer say the propaganda from Pakistan. Every time these terrorists or militants were caught by us, they would clearly be stating that we were told in Pakistan that Islam is in danger, that people are not being taken care of, and that there is tremendous amount of discrimination. And unlike when we come over here, we find there's so much of camaraderie in India. There is no such discrimination. There's so much of freedom. People are so much happier. Their economic prosperity is there. So this false propaganda, because they have no access to media in Pak-occupied Kashmir, that the Pakistani Punjabi administration seems to have absolutely brainwashed and kept these people totally denied of any media coverage and kept them in such darkness that there is 18 hours of blackout, whereas that is the area which produces electricity for Pakistan. And the poor people of POK are in darkness. So this kind of a situation, and when they come on to this side by either being infiltrated or when they cross over, they realize that this is heaven, it's paradise in India. To what the sufferings that they go through in POK. So this is fallen flat. And this right now, I would say it is better to have wait and watch. The thing will automatically, they will come themselves, because it is nothing. You can't fight the people. If the people there have decided that they want to merge with India, because India provides a tremendous amount of opportunities, freedom of religion, freedom of the economic activity, and to do well and prosper well and move along with the modern age, so be it. And that is where I find that the Shias also, and a whole lot of them in the POK, who find themselves as second-rate citizens in Pakistan, they themselves are fed up. And I think it is time that we look at their aspirations and we meet their aspirations, so that at any point of time they wish to, but yet not just people. I wouldn't ever say that only the people should come. No, the entire POK should be a part of India with the people. No problems at all. But it should be coming from within the people and not as just because they are in economic distress today and they turn tomorrow. No, it should be an openness with a view that yes, we want to, and we want to be a part of India for our own good, for our better future, because we find our brethren and sisters are enjoying the prosperity,
right.
enjoying the opportunities in India.
So,
Yeah,
General
Smita.
Kulkarni, you do think that the residents of POK will be much better off if they come on this side of the LOC, but you suggest that, you know, the demand should come from within and they should feel that things are at such a pass that continuing with Pakistan is not viable at all. We all know that that the Pakistani establishment has done is overexploit the resources, the rich resources of POK, but leave the people of the area completely impoverished. But I have very little time left with me, so I'll put a direct question to Colonel Danveer Singh. Colonel Singh, despite all that we are seeing in the last 2-3 days, the attack in Hiranagar, the brutal attack on innocent pilgrims, then another attack on a team of the Rashtriya Rifle, we have leaders within our country, and I want to name Dr. Farooq Abdullah, former Chief Minister here, who despite these attacks has been stressing on the fact that India must open dialogue channels with Pakistan because there is no other way left. How do you look at the statement?
See, I think that former Chief Minister has his own opinion. Let's not forget the fact that all these people, they are the architect of great turmoil that took place in Jammu and Kashmir, and people have suffered for past 40 years. The election results wherein Abdullah was defeated, in fact, both the candidates of
NC.
PDP and National Conference, they were defeated, goes to say that people have seen through them. So no matter how hard they try to ratchet up the rhetoric, I don't think so that is going to hold any ground. Ultimately, it is the policy of the government, and the government's policy is that till the time you do not shun terrorism, we shall not talk.
Yes. So dialogue and violence cannot go together. On that
tell
point,
your friends across that shun the terrorism, and we are ready for talks. That should be our line.
Colonel Danveer Singh, the Prime Minister held a very detailed review meeting to assess the situation and decide the way forward. The Home Minister is also scheduled for a much more detailed meeting in a matter of some hours. Do you think the government, as the message has come that there will be no let up in our counter-terror operations, what do you think should be the way forward? Very quickly, please.
See, it is just like boxing, wherein you have one hand at guard and another is the offensive arm. So I think that is how it has to be. But do we need to use the offensive arm at this point is a question. But definitely the guard has to be up and strong. And I think the operations to mop up these people will continue, and they will continue because this season is favorable for both the sides. And we have to be more vigilant. That's what I feel.
Yes. General Kulkarni, we have two very important events, if I may say, which we need to keep watch. Very soon, there will be the Holy Amarnath Yatra, which will go across the valley. I beg your pardon. And in a matter of months, there is a Supreme Court directive, and we have seen statements of the Chief Election Commissioner that Jammu Kashmir will be heading for assembly elections for the assembly of the Union Territory. Now, seeing these two situations in the coming days, you think it is time to wait and watch and be alert, or is it time to go for a certain offensive, and how much of it?
See, we have to come very, very firm, at least within our own country, and get all the terrorists to be killed without fail. And we have to have our eyes and ears open. We have to win the hearts and minds of people. On June 29th till August 19th is the Amarnath Yatra. We have to ensure that people at no point of time should feel uneasy or scared of entering the valley or pass through Jammu just because of this. And we have to sanitize our areas and no let up whatsoever. And if need be, even strike across at places where we find with definite this thing that the Pakistani hand is visible, and having been told to them, they must resort to it. Because until and unless we come with a very heavy hand outside, is one. And within the own country also ensure, as I said, vigilance, very important, surveillance 24/7, and make sure winning the hearts and minds of people, the Gujars, the Bakarwas, all the parties who are right on beaches because of the summers, grazing with their hearts and minds have to be one. They are the ones who may be providing some information. Otherwise, no such terrorist attack can succeed so deep into the country. They got along.
Right.
But Riyadh is almost 120 kilometers from the LOC. That
yes.
is indicative of some logistic support being provided, some aberrations which is taking place. So we have to be vigilant. We have to be careful. Assembly elections must go as scheduled, because that is what is the this thing. At the same time, the Amarnath Yatra should go with maximum participation of the people without fear whatsoever, because we are capable of providing the security.
I think we'll have to put a stop to this very informative and very educative conversation. Gentlemen, that's all the time I had, but I am happy that we've been able to pack in a lot of aspects of the scenario here, and definitely we'll get back to both of you as the situation progresses. But for this episode, thank you very much, General Kulkarni, always been so kind to join us whenever we have requested you, and Colonel Danveer Singh for all that perspective from your experience and your understanding of the situation. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
High alert within the country. No let up in neutralizing terrorists, foreign or Indian, and at the same time, winning the hearts and minds of the people, keeping the process of democracy on track is the mantra that our experts have just underscored. In the light of these back-to-back terror attacks in Kashmir, our western neighbor needs to know that democracy is thriving in India, unlike the kind of questions that were raised on their elections not very long ago, and that is something not just this subcontinent, the whole world is watching. On that note, viewers, it's a wrap up on Media Scan for this weekend. Do join us back next weekend. Till then, namaskar.